my sister was in and out of jail a lot. It's just interesting how people grow up in the same home and just different lives, different outcomes. So and my grandma was dealing directly with that, and you know, being in the court system and stuff like that, stuff not cheap. So I kind of had to keep it together. I wasn't the best at anything, but I knew how to stay out of trouble because I wasn't trying to make it harder on my grandma. So that made me more of a I'ma stay out the way kind of guy. I'm not trying to bring no attention. And then I would say, because my grandma and grandpa did so much for our family, it made me want to be a provider as well. You know, so I think those two things really shaped me in how I conduct myself professionally. And I had an auntie who was always, hey, say this correctly, say this correct, watch how you say this, watch how you say that. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. And then just my grandparents just providing so much. I was like, man, like, how can I do that? Yeah.
Welcome world, welcome family to another episode of the EL2A Podcast. I'm your host, Sammy Gilmore Jr. To the right of me, we got a very, very special guest, man. I say that all the time, but everybody's special. But this brother is somebody that was introduced to me about Javi. Javi introduced his brother to me, explained him. And it's funny how things happen. Javi introduced him, and that was a while ago. And then after time played out, the name came back up, and I was like, man, Javi, man, you got to make the introduction. You know, because if you talk about it, things don't happen. I was like, man, just make the introduction so we can make it happen. I can meet this brother. And man, I was introduced to the brother, and ever since, man, we've been connected, and it's one of those connections that's genuine, that's pure, and that you could tell is gonna create fruit in the future. So man, I got Mr. David Grant Jr. with me today, man, the husband, the author, and the children's book author, man. I appreciate you being here today, brother.
Nah, thanks so much, man. It's been an honor and privilege starting with Javi. You know, his energy was cool. I met him through, he had a shirt on, and it was somehow it glorified God, it was the scriptures or something, and it just made me think, like, let me talk to him. Yeah. And it just worked out, you know, so it was cool.
Yeah, that's obedience right there, man. There's a saying that say one man's obedience is connected to the destiny of others. Wow. So when you say that, you being obedient to answering to speak to Javi, right? Because a lot of people see that and just say they might have a cool shirt. Yeah. You know what I mean? But you took that next step to go approach or however that happened and have a conversation, which led us here today. And through this, somebody else that may watch this podcast is going to be able to learn from you, learn from your story. Sure. We're going to do things together with Cut Different, and you being able to come to help us. Yeah. So that's going to be connected through, a listener being able to be free maybe by something you say today, by one of these young boys that you're going to be able to mentor and be able to help. Again, one man's obedience is connected to the destiny of others, right? By you being obedient in that moment, you're going to be able to set somebody else free, man. So kudos to you, brother, for doing that.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Yeah. So, man, let's get into it. So one thing, you are an author, brother, right? So that's a goal of mine, right? I always, in the future, it was something about books. I always wanted to write a book, and to see you doing something, have done it, and have it actually here for us to be able to see it, that inspires me, right? Because that's like, okay, that brother did it, so I can do it as well. Sure. So it inspires me to do that. But one thing is, being an author, that means you're a storyteller, right? You're able to tell a story. So what we're doing here on this podcast today, we're going to storytell. I want you to be able to show your story, tell people where you come from, how it happened, and then we're going to get to the books and all the good stuff, man. But I do want to start off by asking you, brother, well, hold on before we start, I'm sorry. Yeah. Hey, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, and comment, all right? Stop what you're doing, like, subscribe, and comment. I know you, David's going to have a lot of people tapping into this episode. Just like, man, one thing about when you like, subscribe, and comment, you know what's cool about it?
What's that?
It's free, right? You don't got to pay nothing. Right. It's free 99. It's free. It don't take nothing to support. So make sure you tap that like, subscribe button, and make comment, man. Interact with us, all right? But back to the episode, brother. So one thing about you, we had a time to have conversations pre-podcast, and I've learned more about you. Yeah. You're from St. Louis, right? Right. So tell me what it's like, growing up in the St. Louis area, brother.
So it's called the Show Me State for a reason. What you talk about, you try to be about it. Yeah. And the real ones know that. But it's also a place where community and family are very important. Mm-hmm. I didn't come from the city. I came from a county outside of the city. In my eyes, I believe my grandparents saved me from it. I came from a family that was split. You know, they were both young, my mom and dad. I think my dad was 19 and my mom was 18 at the time. So it just didn't work out. And my pops was pulling it together. But me and my sister, we were raised with my grandma and my grandpa. So, you know, I kind of learned early in sports, you outside.
Yeah.
Everybody was an athlete. You know what I mean? Like the girls were athletes. The grandpas talked about how they were athletes. Like everybody was always outside doing something. And also came from that era where everybody was a player back then.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? Everybody was talking about this and that. And I kind of like took on to that culture. So I ran track and I played basketball, and basketball was my passion. And through the course of time, it just turned into, I love athletics. You know, we used to go to the Cardinals games on my birthdays and the good old days when Albert Pujols was doing his thing and Yadier Molina and all these people. So I was blessed to see a culture. We had the Rams before they moved to LA. So it was real cool, man. And my pops was in my life. I'm not going to discredit him in no way, but he ended up getting with my stepmother and having 2 more kids, my brothers-in-law, my stepbrothers, but we don't call it like that. Like, that's not how it is. Those my brothers. So, you know, he was just figuring it out. And, you know, my grandma, man, I credit her so much because my grandpa was a silent type. You know, he was from that Southern South Carolina type of vibe where it was, we gonna work hard, you gonna shut up and listen to what I say, you know. But my grandma was loving and kind, and she did a lot for me. So in that situation, we grew up, me and my sister and my 2 brothers going to church a lot and being outside a lot. And God was very important to us. And I wasn't listening all the way, but I got some good roots.
Yeah, I like that. Not to cut you off, but you say you got good roots. I want to stop you there. One thing about growing up with your grandparents, first thing comes to my mind is wisdom. Yeah. And when you're able to live, so working in the space we do, we work with male mentorship. We work with young boys, and basically it's kids raising kids. You know what I'm saying? So they're trying to figure life out while trying to raise a person, what usually turns into a lot of the things that they go through. With you being with more seasoned people that have wisdom, what was the biggest lessons you learned by being raised by your grandparents?
Respect your wife, defend your family, and put God first.
Yeah, that's all.
That's what I learned from my grandpa. What I learned from my grandma is stand up for yourself and fight for whatever you believe in. Because her story and all of that happened to her made me realize, like, whether you male or female, just stand up for yourself. So that's kind of what I learned from them. But what I mostly learned from my grandpa, because I did look up to him, but he was kind of distant, as most grandpas were of our generation. Like, they wasn't really outside with us. They was more so like in the back, that silent protector vibe, and that's what he was. And I learned that a good man provides for his family.
Right on.
He modeled what it's like to handle whatever adversity he was going through in his life, even though he was older.
Sure.
But he didn't let it affect the home. Like, I always say, we came from humble beginnings. It wasn't like we had a bunch of stuff, but we had what we needed. You know, we got the first pair of shoes and another pair of Christmas. Or, you know, we had enough where, yeah, we might have got picked on a little bit, but we can talk it back too, you know what I'm saying, a little bit. So I just learned, like, if you gonna step up to be a man, do it all the way.
For sure.
You know, I know it don't always work out where families stay together, but you can always do your part. And now I try to model that for my son. Just keep your head down, do your work, believe in your dreams, and just be present. You know what I mean? So that's what I learned.
Yeah, it's old school, man. I love it. One thing I'm thinking about, so all I can relate to when I'm hearing your story is the work that we do. We have a lot of young people that come into our doors with baggage, you know what I mean? Trauma, for whatever reason, lost a loved one, whatever happened, you know, dad's not in their life. So when I hear you, and I hear you say you grew up with your grandparents and you really didn't grow up with your mom and your dad, all I can kind of is visualize is the child you, and I'm wondering, how did that fit that child you, not having your parents there? So for example, we have cases like yours. They have grandparents in their life, but a lot of young boys don't see the blessing at hand that having that, you know what I mean, because they're craving what they don't have.
Right.
And I just want to hear you. How did that affect you not having your parents present during your childhood?
I would say it affected my confidence because I didn't have a steady pouring into from the person that created me.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's very important. I feel like it also made me want more for myself when I think on the positive side of it. And then it made me really respect my family in the sense of, because my pops, he had a blessing through my grandparents, but I was a direct result of their love.
Mm-hmm.
And while she was raising us, my pops was able to get his stuff together. So that made me think like, all right, when I get older, I want to be that hub of safety.
For sure.
You know, because like I believe I was sheltered from the city. Because I had a lot of family and friends who were from the city. So all respect to that energy and to that environment, because it's no joke. So I felt like I was protected from it. Yeah. But at the same time, it made me realize, like, be careful of like judging others, because, you know, it would be certain times I'm coming to see friends and family and I know they struggling. And to us, we cousins. So it's like, we not on each other like that. We not talking about each other, but it's like, dang. And my grandma would be like, yeah, that's because they from this area, from that area. Mm-hmm. So it just made me realize like family is a major blessing. Yeah. But yeah, that's what they kind of gave me.
If there was a kid in St. Louis, right? Or a kid that's growing up here in Ocala and maybe placed in that same environment right now. Yeah. And you were placed in there to give them some encouragement about your parent might not be here, but what would you say to that young person?
That's a great question. First, I would check their environment and see, do they have somebody? And if I'm just that one person, I would start figuring out, what do they like to do?
Yeah.
Because that's where I was misguided at. I thought it was all sports when I really like to work with my hands. Yeah. And I really like to put things together. And we'll probably talk about it later, but in the military, I dealt with the machinery that sent the fuel to the flight deck. Mm-hmm. So I worked on the bottom of the boat, and it got sent to the planes on the top of the boat. Mm-hmm. And I never dealt with machinery more so than like putting some antifreeze, you know what I'm saying? It's cold and whatever the case may be. But I ended up falling in love with it. So I would just tell that kid, I would just take time and figure out like, what do you want? And then realize, okay, what can I have like what you do? And expose them to something more than just your body. Because I feel like in most kids' lives, they're like, I want to be like LeBron. I want to be Messi. I want to be, you know, Tatis. I want to be these people, when it's just like, you're your mind more so than your body. Yes, sir. You know, and that's something that I try to instill in my son, is one day that sport is going to run up. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can only do so much no matter how great you are. I mean, Jordan makes billions of years off of 30 years ago. Yeah. It blows my mind how much money this man make off of something he did so long ago. Yeah. But that's 1 in a million. That's 1 in a trillion. It's never going to be another Jordan. Yeah. And it's just, I would try to see, how can I get him to think of more than, I want to get strong, I want to get fast. No, let's build your critical thinking skills, mm-hmm. your communication skills. Like Word was telling me, y'all work on public speaking. Mm-hmm. Some of the best deals are either made on the golf court, or they made just talking to somebody that you don't even know. Right on. So yeah.
And everything you're saying is so powerful, man. The mindset, right? Yeah. That's what I mean. The power of the mind. Even what we do. A lot of people come in with behaviors, right? So a kid praying brains, man, my child is doing this, I want him to do that. Yeah. I always tell the parents, we don't focus on behavior, we focus on the mind, right? Mindset, modifications. I want to change the way you see yourself and the way you see the world. That's if I can change the way you see yourself and you see the world, your behaviors are going to change. Yeah. You give them a sense. So that's all the things we do. Another thing, in order to go back, I always like to go back to go forward. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking about maybe challenges and circumstances. I know the situation without your parents, but is there anything that you could think of outside of that that helped shape who you are today? Challenges from your childhood, or just circumstances that you may have faced that helped shape who you are today?
I'll say two that just kind of came quickly, and one is my sister was in and out of jail a lot. It's just interesting how people grow up in the same home,
For sure.
and just different lives, different outcomes.
Mhm.
So and my grandma was dealing directly with that, and being in the court system and stuff like that, stuff not cheap. So I kind of had to keep it together. I wasn't the best at anything, but I knew how to stay out of trouble because I wasn't trying to make it harder on my grandma. So that made me more of a I'm a stay out the way kind of guy.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to bring no attention. And then I would say because my grandma and grandpa did so much for our family, it made me want to be a provider as well. So I think those two things really shaped me in how I conduct myself professionally. And I had an auntie who was always, hey, say this correctly, say this correct, watch how you say this, watch how you say that. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. And then just my grandparents just providing so much. I was like, man, like, how can I do that?
Man, when did you realize no one was coming to save you? And when I say, do you understand when I say when nobody comes to save you? Because a lot of people think that somebody about to jump out the sky and give $1 million or just save them. When did you realize that no one was coming to save you?
That's an amazing question. For me, I think it was a little too early. I wish I would have been more naive longer. Because it made me want to, it shut me off from wanting to hear what somebody else had to say. So I would say probably about 10 or 11 where I was like, all right, this is what I got. This my hand. I don't got many spades. So I gotta make this work. So it made me, I kind of became like not rebellious, but I wasn't trying to hear it. It was my way or the highway.
Yeah. And when you say that, because I love that perspective. When I usually ask that question, somebody will say, when I was 23, you know what I mean? And later on in life, I figured out, but you said it early. So when you also say you think that may have been to your detriment. So when you say what you were just, maybe advice that was given you just was like, man, bump that, I'm gonna figure it out myself type of thing. That's what you was on?
I wasn't trying to hear it. I was like, I'm going to the league.
Football dream.
My grandma was like, well, baby, you know, and I'm like, nah, I can't hear that, mama. And but it kind of shut me off. Or I just and I viewed things, instead of being a victim, I started being a prosecutor. Like, well, dang, like, well, you ain't here, I'm gonna do my own thing. Or you ain't here enough where I can hear that from you. Or like my mom, we have a great relationship now, so I love you, mama, but she was so inconsistent. Like, I probably saw my mama once a year, over a span of 2 sometimes. But it was always, we might see you, we might pull up, you know what I'm saying? Like, she ain't coming to none of the holidays and stuff. And it's funny how God restores. But so I was just like, well, if my mama, and then I heard this story, I think I was like 12 or 13 or something. And I found out how I was supposed to be put up for adoption. And that's when I was like, oh, yeah,
I know that.
I ain't trying to hear it. Like, I ain't even supposed to be here. Like, I ain't even supposed to be a grad. Like, and I was like, all right, well, if I ain't supposed to do this. So I started going against the grain. And I started like, which in a way helped, but I wish I would have been more humble.
Man, tell me that. So I think that's we can't breeze by that, right? So the thought process of I don't even know how you figure that out, but then the process of, hold up, y'all was just gonna cast me away when nobody gonna, you know what I'm saying? When nobody gonna rock with me. How did it, like, internally, like, really, how did you feel just knowing? Because we see it, man. Again, I keep going back to this work because a lot of your story touches what we do. I see that, and I see what that makes kids do. They have that same, that betrayal and all that different things. What did you truly feel in the inside when you figured that out?
I felt worthless. And what made it worse, it was a shallow reason. I found out, my mom ended up telling me, once again, I love you, mama. But she was like, it was because you were so pretty. And I was like, what are we talking about? And she was like, yeah, you just look like a little Mexican baby. And I'm like, what? What's going on? But at the end of the day, it made me feel like I wasn't much more than a smile, or I wasn't. And it kind of made me lean more into, well, you know, I guess I look good. Let me go ahead and get my plate wrong. Yeah. So it kind of shifted my mindset from maybe being able to be positive to like, okay, I'm just going to look at it in a bad way.
Yeah. How did you revert from that mindset? What got you back into the light of, okay, I this turned me to be negative. What got you back on that track of positivity, for lack of a better word?
Hard work.
Yeah.
I always love to work. I like to be outside. When I was like 11, 12, my pops let me go work with one of my mother-in-law's cousins, and I was outside doing yard work. And I liked that check. Yeah. So the money ended up becoming an ambition, but what I wish I would have heard, what I would also tell that young man or that young woman is, money comes and goes. That's not important. Mm-hmm. What are you doing for your future? Yeah. Yeah, investing is dope. Investing is cool too. But it's more like, how are you investing in something that's going to build kind of like compound interest, where it's just going and going and going? I would tell them, what are you working on? A skill set. Yeah. That's what I wish I had. And so I wish I would have, it kind of clicked for me about 16, 17, like, all right, I'm finna go get this bag. Mm-hmm. I want a car. I want an apartment. Yeah. I want to be independent. Yeah. So that's kind of where it was like, I wasn't all the way there, but I started focusing on something positive.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff, that's what we do. So that shift the mindset. Again, we're going back to mindset. It's like, if it's money, we have to find something. A lot of kids thrive off money. That's why a lot of negativity is happening now. That's why they rob and doing whatever they're doing, because they want money. Yeah. So it's like, how can we create a system that gets them what they want, that they deserve? Like you should, a kid, you should be able to go get a job right now. Sure. If you're a teenager, you should be able to find a sense of employment to see who you want to become in the future. Yeah. And so that's what we come in. So when we say building the school to career pipeline, those are some of the same things you're saying. Those are the same problems still going on today, and we're still trying to solve those problems here. So another thing I'm thinking about, so the sports thing you did mention, right? All of us, hoop dreams, football dreams, whatever it is, coming from communities like we come from, that happens. So from somebody way from St. Louis, and I'm here in Ocala, we kind of had that same fate, like sports. And then when it didn't happen, I was lost. I speak for myself. Yeah. But when that dream of that you always sought out to be, when it didn't happen, what state did that leave you in?
For me, it was more realistic, just because it was a sense of like, yeah, I'm not 6'2", 6'3",
and you was hooping too,
and I was hooping. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm starting to. I have been blessed with more of a black and white mind, where it's just like I see things for what they are. Mm-hmm. So it more so made me think like, all right, what's next? And I wish it would have been school. Yeah. That's one thing I admire about you, and I've talked to my son about it. Is you graduated with your master's at 23, right? Mm-hmm. That's not an accident. Yeah. And I wish I would have been more intentional about my future. So it kind of left me wanting to grind, but I was more so thinking about money than proper mindset. Yeah.
One thing you did show, so that next step, I know you went to the military, right, brother? One thing about the military, that's something I never. You realize say I ain't going over there. I ain't dying for nobody. Right?
Yeah, I feel that.
And it's and when you see, it's like most people go, right? They go over there to get a charger. Yeah. They go to get married, get some more bread. So it's all the things that out there being said. Yeah. When you think about yourself, or you just don't know what. It's that plan. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go do this. At least I figure it out over there. Yeah. For yourself, what made you make a decision to join the military?
I wanted to go to college because I dropped out of college. Okay. So I just made, so I didn't have good grades. I think I had like a 2.7 in high school, but I did really good on my ACTs. Mm-hmm. So that helped me wiggle into a decent college that was a little bit far away. And my family was real big on college. I just wasn't listening. And I dropped out because I wasn't ready. I should have went to community college. To the kids out there, don't shun community college, because it's going to save you a lot of money and it's going to save you time. I wish I would have did that. But so I dropped out. I was doing all right. You know what I'm saying? I had a place, I had a truck, you know, I was doing okay. You know what I'm saying? A few people stopping by at the night, you know what I'm saying? I was okay, but I was like, man, this can't be it. Yeah. I can't be here just to sit in St. Louis. That can't be it. and my auntie was a traveler. She was a go-getter. You know, she went and got her doctorate and all these things, but she used to travel because she worked for a traveling company. And I remember asking, like, she said she was going to Bermuda. This was when Rihanna first came out, and I was like, let me come with you. We ain't had the resources like that, you know. So I joined because I wanted to go to college and I wanted to travel the world.
So when you went in there, I'm pretty sure you had a mindset. I'm pretty sure you heard everything like I heard. So you got a certain way that you looking at it when you went in. So what kind of mindset did you go into the military with? And then when you got in, did the I guess the perception that you have, did it match up to what you were thinking when you went in?
Nah. So to answer your first question, my mindset was stay out the way. I'm thinking like Jarhead,
For sure.
You know, metal jacket type of stuff. And I'm like, all right, if that's what they own, all right, I'm gonna defend myself, whatever case maybe, but like, I'm not even trying to get in trouble. Because at this point, I was 22 years old. So I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? I ain't never been no gang banger. I ain't never been no tough guy. I was like, I'm not finna go in here acting tough. I'm just gonna stand on what I stand on, and whatever happened. And because I was more relaxed, people left me alone. Sure. And I was in the Navy at that.
Okay.
So because I was in the Navy, the culture of the Navy, yeah, you're going to have knuckleheads. You're going to have people who want to make an example. But I saw that a mile coming. Because in St. Louis, I feel like I'm blessed to come from there because it's just like, you know what people own if you pay attention. And you got to observe your environment. So I was able to see, all right, here come this one dude. He always got to open his mouth and do this. So I stayed out the way. But the reality that I had, this was after I'd been in about a year, was the military is a microcosm of the world. So I'm seeing, I saw a lot of the negatives of the world because people didn't care what, you know, especially people in higher ups, they abusing power. They're not helping people the way they should. Because I was enlisted, you know, you got enlisted and you got officer. So enlisted, you coming in as a grunt, it don't matter what. If an officer tell you to jump, you better ask how high.
Yeah.
But and I realized like, whoa, okay, so there's abuse of power, there's abuse of authority, there's negligence to people, and it made me realize like I need to level up. The quicker you level up, the more you can have wiggle room to be your own person because you are a number, and they remind you you are a number. On top of that, I realized like the world is so much bigger than black versus white. Yeah. I never noticed this, but I grew up in a very black community. Never hated, like my grandparents, you know, I found out about our history and stuff like that, but they never was on no hateful stuff. But in our area, in Missouri specifically, we below the Mason-Dixon line. So I was raised, hey, you better watch where you at. Like you might be in the county, but you don't go up too far north. Right. You know, you don't know what you're gonna happen, or watch out for the police and stuff. But man, when I see the Filipinos and I saw the Vietnamese and I saw the Thai, and I was over in Japan, my first duty station, and I'm seeing all these cultures. I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. Like this is beautiful. And on top of that, God blessed me where I was able to go to my ports. Yeah. And I stayed out of trouble for the most part. I did get in trouble at one point in time. But I was able to see like, man, this food from when we went to Dubai, and I had a shawarma, and it's just like a Philly, but it's on a different type of bread. It's on like pita bread. But it was fire. Or, you know, I'm having, you know, fish being cooked for me right here, and it's like, clearly this dude is not the most sanitary person in the world, but this fish is smelling amazing. You know, I'm used to catfish and, you know, stuff like that. So I got to see like, man, I'm glad. My family didn't want it because I was the first person in my family to go to the military. But they didn't want me to do it because they had that mentality, like, you gonna go to war. And I was like, okay, I might. But if that's what God want me to do, that's what I'm gonna do. For sure. You know, but it all ended up working where I got to see like the world is so big, which is why I end up writing the books the way I do, because I want kids, circling back to what you guys do, to know like that exposure to like the bigger picture,
Yeah.
man, it'll change your life. He's like, what? This what people go to Japan and they don't come back.
Yeah.
Like, cause it's a completely different world.
I like it, man. We got to get into that. But I want to jump on something. You was over there eating koi fish and stuff. But so you said you got in trouble. So I can't get into that. We're going to get to the books. Right? I got to hear about what you did to get in trouble. Then we're going to get into these books. What did you do?
So it was tough, man. I was doing good. I was moving forward, and we went to Australia, and there was this I was drinking too much that night, and there's these people called Shore Patrol, and they try to tell you gotta go back or you gotta do this, and I'm like a block away from my hotel, and this guy just gave me a hard time. Come to find out, he's an officer.
Mm-hmm.
And I just gave it back to him, you know what I mean? And he made me say some things I shouldn't have said.
Yeah.
The police got involved.
Yeah.
He said something about my grandma. Mind you, I'm drunk. So I didn't keep my composure.
Okay.
Now I look back on it, I could have got out of that for sure. I'm smooth enough to be like, oh, my bad. I don't mean no disrespect, sir. I'm just right around the corner. Can you give me that opportunity to get home? I won't come back out.
Yeah.
I could have played it that way.
Yeah.
I was too young. I'm thinking, like, what? Nah. Yeah. So I spazzed out. And so I ended up I was at E3. I was about to take the test. I was good on my test. I was good in my, I was good at my knowledge. I knew I was going to do good. Didn't know if I would pass, but I knew I would do good.
Yeah.
And I had to go to Captain Mass. So they bust me down from E3 to E2. And I was stuck there for about 1.5 years.
Yeah. So you killed yourself. So a couple things you said, and you knocked yourself down. But it's funny, even to what you said just now, because when you said it, you was like, he made, like, those are little things when I talk about mindset that we always focus on. And you said you were young, you're young-minded. You was like, he made me say something. You know what I mean? Like, how can somebody make you say something?
Yeah.
Like, you chose to say that. Yeah, so it's just little stuff like that. But in the work we do, man, it's for reasons like that. How can we minimize those mistakes? Because if you think about it, if that mistake didn't happen, you probably would be at somewhere, ain't no telling where you would be further, you know what I mean? So how can we eliminate those mistakes when you talk about when we work? And I'm not asking you that, I'm just saying when we working with our youth, that's why we do what we do.
That's right.
We want to eliminate moments like that when it could have simpler, and you flipped it. You said you could have easily shifted and said, man, you good, man, I'm sorry. Let me, you know what I mean? I'm just right up there. Let me go around the corner. It's moments like that. But to close off on the military thing, what are if you could say, biggest lessons or some things that from the military that you learned that still or who is shaping who you are today?
Be around people who want better for themselves.
Okay, go a little more into that.
And so there's always people who care about what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And because they care, even if you don't care as much, it's contagious. People who love that, they got a passion for something, even if you can't do it. Like, I can't get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, but I can run.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's that motivation. So I learned, watch the company you keep. And I learned nothing can stop you when you have a plan and you're on the right mindset.
Sure.
Because just quickly, I had to realize I am not going to change the system, but I can change myself.
Yeah, man.
So I went back to stay out the way, grind, stay away from people who steal, because, it's drugs over there, it's drinking over there, it's prostitution. All of that's over there. I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. I'm finna go shoot some pool, grab some wings, and sip on this Modelo. Right on. And that was my little routine for a solid year and a half.
Sure.
And God bless me. What happened was my son was born, and we got married. But in Japan, when a woman who's not married has a kid, because my wife's also in the military, they send her to the States. So they sent her to the States, and I had to put in this request, and I was like 1 in 1,000 to get it. So I came home, and I went from Japan to California. And when I got to California, I knew so much, but I had bad rank. But I was in a positive mindset. So everybody like, man, like, how are you at this qualification, but you an E2? You know, made sure my shoes were shine, made sure my uniform was clean, made sure that, you know, my shade was on point, made sure I was keeping the right company. I didn't like everybody I was around, and I wasn't using them, but I learned how to be a leader.
Yeah.
I don't have to like you to get this job done.
Right.
And eventually I went from, in 2 years, I went from E2 to E5.
Yeah.
I passed each one of my exams way far above than most people, and it was because of my family.
Yeah.
So that biggest thing is watch the company you keep, and if you want something, go for it.
I love it. I love it. All right, man. Let's get into these books, man. You got these nice books sitting here. So what went into you, or when did you just start thinking about, like, I want to write a book? When did that even come about, an idea for you?
So I've always been a writer, whether it was poetry or short stories or whatever. And when I was on my shore duty in Maryland before we moved down to Tampa, when I got out, I was writing a health and wellness blog. I love health and wellness. I love all that stuff. So I was writing that blog, and over the course, I was starting to get a little traction, and, you know, things were starting to pick up. I was starting to get 1,000 likes, this and the third. But what really happened was I wasn't able to see my son be born because he was in a different state. I didn't have the pull I needed, so I missed his birth. And when I finally had time to be at home with my family, when I got shore duty, which is 3 years stateside, working a 9 to 5 pretty much, every day I told my son a story for like a year and a half. And I got better at it.
Yeah.
And I recorded some. And my wife was like, make a book. At this point in time, I was also going to school because I knew I wanted to write. I was in an online college for creative writing. That's what I graduated in next year. And when she said that, I'm like, I don't know how to write no book. And I was like, I'm gonna try to write a book.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where all that came from, is just telling my son stories at nighttime.
So what about you allowed you to come up with an idea? I might write a book, but then actually write a book. You get what I'm saying? I think I shared with you earlier, like, a lot of people have ideas.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people execute.
Yeah.
So where did that come into you to see that through?
Research, and I wanted it to be nice because I thought about my son reading it.
Yeah.
So I just kind of looked at, like, okay, what are my avenues? I don't got a lot of money, but through technology in the space we live in, everything is possible. So self-publishing. And I realized, okay, what is self-publishing? I realized that you put in what you have to their system and they print it out. And I just thought, well, if that's the case, I'm going to put in something really nice, the best I can do. And that's where the books came from.
So why children books?
Because of my son.
Okay, so they were all basically geared towards him to read it.
Yeah, legacy.
Yeah.
Me and Roy were talking about that. I had a purpose. My family shaped me to tighten up. Like, I had to realize, like, me and my wife, we had a tough couple years when we were first married. And God really had to intervene, but I started to realize, like, it's biblical for me to try to make this work.
For sure.
And I've always had pride issues. I was like, all right, let me try to humble myself. Let me watch how I talk this in the third. And over that can't end up being, like, now my family's everything. At first, it was like, all right, I'm gonna give y'all money. I'm gonna give you clothes. You want to go get your toes done? Go ahead, girl, do your thing. But then it turned out to be, now I want them to have safety with me, and I want to leave something behind. So what I want you to do is, like, Joe to open the book and be proud of his dad. Yeah. So that's where that came from.
Dope. So talk to me about the books. You got 2 up here. So give me, if you could just point out, I know you say this is your first one, just give us a little bit about each, and don't give it all. Now they got to go get it. We'll put the links and all that so they can get it in the description, but just give us a little brief overview of the book.
So the first one is called Jomo's Adventures. That's a series. It's a 3-part series as of right now. The first one is about him going to the 7 wonders of the world. And it's a rhyming book. It's probably about a 4 or 5 minute read, has bright pictures, and it's all factual. Okay. And that's just inspired by the current 7 wonders of the world. And it's to, programming, as bad as it sounds, we do it anyway. Whether we want to admit it or not, what we're exposing our kids to is shaping who they are.
For sure. What's up, EL2A family, man? Come invest in the futures that are going to change the world. What you see here right now, man, we are reimagining education, right? We are giving these young boys and showing them who they are and where they're going. We're creating a school to career pipeline, and it's happening right here on this property, man. So let's go, EL2A fam. We're going to have a QR code that pops up. You scan that code, all right? And it's going to take you and tell you everything you need to know to come help us invest in the futures that's going to change the world. Let's go. Yeah.
And most kids, if it's something bright, they gonna keep looking. And so I try to put bright pictures in it, so in their mind they thinking, I want to be or do more than wherever I'm at, even if it's a good situation. Because travel, man, it's just so beautiful. So that's what that book is about. And the second book is so that's about for 6 months to about 4 or 5 years old, depending on the reading level. And the second book is about 1st grade to 2nd grade reading level. And it's about Jomo, and he goes to the 7 continents, and he meets a dinosaur on these continents. Once again, promoting travel, but it's mostly, I'm trying to get the kids to the 2nd grade reading level, so it introduces bigger words, numbers, comparative numbers, and yeah, it's just one of those books where it's a little bit longer, probably about a 6-7 minute read, but it's to get them to have that confidence that I can read big words. And a lot of parents start off with dinosaur words. You know, being able to say Tyrannosaurus Rex for a kid is a big deal. That's a hard word. So that's what I tried to do with that book.
Now, I like it. And so you're saying travel in each one of those. So exposure is a big part of what we do, which is through travel. What does, I know you talked about the experience in Japan, but what does actually exposure and travel actually mean to you? For you to put it in this book, obviously you know the importance of it, but how did it change your life?
Man, it made me realize that I'm unique, that whether it's my story, you know, everybody kind of experienced it in the States, where if you're from the North and you go down South, people are like, why you talk like that? Or, you know, you from the South and you go up North, it's the same thing, but we're all very unique, and the world is there to explore, even more so now. Like, yeah, people, you know, they kind of shun Spirit and Frontier and things like that, but hey, and things are affordable. Like, and it's, I also want, and this is kind of like a long term, but I want kids to know, man, save your money. Save your money and go see the world. Like, go to Jamaica, or, you know what I'm saying, go out to Bali, or if you want to go crazy, go to the Middle East. Like, get out and see the world.
When you think about these books, man, tell the people where can they get these? Where do you sell them? Where can someone, if I wanted this book, where can I go?
So my books are all on Amazon, and I'm also at the Ocala Downtown Market every other week. So I'll be there this week, and then for the rest of the year until next July, I'll be at the market every other week starting this week. Yeah, that's where you can go.
That's dope. And we'll make sure we put the link in the description so you guys can get it. One thing I think about, like I told you, not a lot of people are doing this, bro. So a lot of people have ideas, but not a lot of people execute. So for you to do this, I know you had to push yourself, and throughout your life, you had to get outside your comfort zone, right? You didn't know how to do this. You had to go get outside your comfort zone and figure it out. What role has getting outside your comfort zone played in your journey of life?
It made me realize that I can accomplish the Great Commission by Christ, to spread the word. I was nervous to talk to people. I was an isolationist. I was doubted myself. I said insecure, and I'm still all of those things. But it made me realize that we're all uniquely designed to promote the kingdom, but also to live a good life. So it's helped me realize that it's not that I want to be this big famous person or whatever. It's I'm here for a purpose, and these books are helping me accomplish that, man.
Perfect. Thinking about your teenage self, I always like this question. When you think about this book, because you're writing children's book, or you can even talk to your childhood self, and I'm pretty sure you have things in there that you wish you would have known, or somebody would have said to you. If you can kind of mesh these two together and give a lesson or something you wish your childhood self would have known that somebody's going to get out of these books, what would it be?
Don't link your identity to your physical skill set. And you can do way more than you can imagine.
Yeah. Wow. So you can do way more than you can imagine. What did there ever sometimes in your journey that you felt you limited yourself?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It was times where I thought I can only do the basic.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not fill in the blank, whoever is exceptional. But we all have exceptionalism in us.
Yeah.
We just got to dig deep for it.
Yeah. Fatherhood, right? So you have your son here today with you, and that's a big thing with me.
Over making all that noise.
Yeah. So I do want to highlight that part of your journey. So obviously he's an inspiration to your books, but just so I want him to be able to hear it coming out your mouth, man. What does your son do for you? What does he mean to you, and how does he inspire you to be more?
What he means to me is indescribable, but what he does for me is he makes me want to be the best person I can be, because I'm the example.
Yeah.
He not looking to his mama. He also make me want to stay tight on how I take care of myself, how I present myself, how I approach every day. Because speaking of legacy, if I'm not doing it the right way, it doesn't mean he can't, but I'm not giving him the best expectation of what he can do.
Yeah.
So everything, like, and I'm blessed for how much I've been able to accomplish in my own respect, because I'm going to keep him tight. What you mean you're not going to college? I went to college. Your mama went to college.
Yeah.
What you mean you're not traveling? We traveled. What you acting up for? All this that you've been given, who you think you are to turn your back on that?
Yeah.
I respect the story of the prodigal son, but I'm snapping. What we talking about?
Yeah.
You have a future. Don't waste it.
For sure.
You know, so that's kind of...
I love it, man. I love it, man. It's been a great episode. You have a future, but don't waste it, man. That goes for a lot of people, man. We everything you are is what we're doing, why we do what we do. In the sense that we wish the young boys that we mentor and that they had a person like you, brother. That's why I know we're gonna do some great things together, man. So I appreciate you for joining me today. And as we are wrapping up, man, if there are any last things that you want to share about your books, about anything you got going on before we spin it off?
Yeah, not really. I'm blessed to be here, man. It's been waiting to touch down. I'm grateful we finally got the opportunity. My third book coming out soon. My name is David _David Grant Books on Instagram. And you can see me at Ocala's Market, or you can reach out to me and my team on my email that's also linked on my Instagram. And I've done a few school readings, and I'm down to keep doing that. So just if it's something I can do to help the community, like with being a mentor, I'm gonna be there.
Yeah, I love it. And I was gonna ask you that too. I'm glad you did it. So if you can just give the email now, so we can put the email, we can make sure it gets up on the on the screen, so we can see it in the podcast. So what's your email? If people want to reach out to you.
PickedApartLLC@gmail.com.
Yeah, PickedApartLLC@gmail.com. We'll make sure that get on the screen. What's the plan, man? What's the vision? What's the vision for David Grant Senior, man? I mean Junior. I'm sorry. What do you see? What does 5 years, 10 years look like for you?
My 5-year is to have 3 chapter books as far as my books. I want to be in ministry in some capacity, and I'm also working on getting into the cloud compute, that space. So after I get my degree that's not in computers right now through the military, I'm working on some certifications so I can have a positive outlook job, so I can pour into my son, because I want to homeschool until high school if possible, and also I can take time to be with and help the community however I can.
Yeah. Well, hey, if you don't know it, man, I got a school your son can go to. Cut Different Academy. Same plug, Cut Different Academy. coming soon, man. So we gonna cut different academies, drop it in right now. But nah, that'll be a cool look, man. But man, brother, this been a great episode, man. Please go get the book. I haven't even learned it, so I'm gonna give me a copy of both of them. Make sure I check them out, man. It's maybe something we can let a couple of our boys or something, man. We definitely a support, brother. So I just appreciate it, man. I look forward to seeing what's to come. Again, one man's obedience is connected to the destiny of other, man. So I appreciate you for being obedient. That's what led us here. So we just got to keep going, keep being obedient. You know what I mean? So yeah. Everybody, man, stop what you're doing, like, subscribe, and comment. Make sure maybe we had a powerful episode. So tell me one takeaway that you took from this episode. Again, one comment, action item. Comment what you learned from this episode or what you took away from it. Man, we're going to be doing some great things. Downtown Market, make sure you go check my guy out. And man, let's just keep it going. But I always end it with the guest, man. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna have you look in this camera right here, man. If there's just one last thing, again, you just gave us your story. If there's one takeaway that you hope, if somebody watched this, but they like, man, what did I get from this? If there's one thing that you hope somebody can get from your story, what would it be?
Everybody has something that they bring to the table, and we all are broken in some kind of way, but Christ restores all things.
Yeah, I love it, man. Powerful. All right, man, we'll see y'all next time.